heard previously.
Our country's political landscape is polarized to the point that we rarely hear each other. Larry Sharpe has traveled the country and has personally visited every county in New York State, listening to people's concerns. The Sharpe Way is a show where answers, solutions, and common ground can be found so that together we can forge a new way forward. The Sharpe Way is the way to mutual respect, where no one has to convert to be heard, because you can be as liberal or as conservative as you want, as long as you aren't forcing your beliefs on others. Welcome to Sharpe Way Radio.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe. Sharpe Way Radio, here on the Voice of Liberty. Yes, Mondays now, 1 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday used to be the coolest day. No more. Now Monday is. The number to call after the first break, 585-346-3000. You know, I was thinking about bombing. Okay, Larry, why are you thinking about bombing? Well, you know, we just bombed Iran, but that isn't the reason why. I was actually thinking about Yugoslavia. Yes. You didn't think I was going to bring that up today, did you? Well, there we go. Blast from the past. The former Yugoslavian nation that broke up into several other nations was bombed by the one and only Bill Clinton back in the late 90s, 1989, if I'm not mistaken. Why would I care about something like that? Because I remember when he bombed them, and I was like, why? Is he going to bomb the Yugoslavians? All of a sudden he cares about like Serbians and Bosnians. Not that you shouldn't care about Serbians and Bosnians. You should. They're people too. We should care about them also. Absolutely. But why bomb them? And why bomb them at that point in the war? The war had been going on for a while. Why? Now people would say, particularly if you support someone like Clinton, and maybe you did, he was kind of super cool back then. He was on Arsenio Hall and he was, doing the saxophone thing. So he was kind of cool. I get it. But he also had something else going on. He had the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Yes, he did. He had that scandal. And when he had that scandal, everyone was like, we got to get rid of him. He got impeached. We got to get rid of him because he's disgraced us or whatever was the thing. Look, I'm libertarian. I don't care what he did. I hate the cover up and the lie, but you do you. I mean, Hillary's still with him, so I guess she was okay with it. Whatever. That's not my marriage, not my issue. My point being, all of a sudden he bombs Yugoslavia, and Slobodan Milosevic, didn't think you'd hear that name today, but yep, that name came out too, was all of a sudden his bad guy. He was his nemesis. And now we could fight him. And we forgot all about Lewinsky. Yeah. And just like that, done. Nemesis are good for a lot of people. Bush had bin Laden, right? Absolutely. Reagan had Gorbachev, who he brought back into the fold, right? So was it Kennedy or what? Was it Khrushchev or Brezhnev? I forgot which one. He had one of them. I think it was Khrushchev. Whichever one, it was one of them. He had one of them too. I forgot. Some of you guys who are older than me remember Kennedy. I don't remember Kennedy. Not that old guy, sorry. But yes, he had one too. Why do I bring this up? Because maybe Trump could use one too. Elon's not working well for him as one. But you know who might? A guy named Zohran Mamdani. Oh, I'm not joking. You were like, wait a minute, Larry. You pulled Yugoslavia out and then brought up Zohran Mamdani. I am that good. It's true. I am that good. It is possible that this may be good for him. I mean, Mamdani said it. He literally said, hey, I am the best foil for him, right? Literally the best foil for him. He said, I'm not, what is he? Socialist, Muslim, immigrant. He's not wrong, right? He's not wrong. That is probably a good foil for Trump. So maybe Trump's okay in the long run with Mamdani becoming mayor of New York City. Maybe he becomes the guy he could attack and call names and threaten to put in jail and stop the communists from New York City and all those things. Maybe Trump's okay with it. But maybe he's not. Maybe he'd actually rather have Adams. You might say, Adams? That guy's not a Republican. Well, he used to be. Oh, some of you didn't know that. He was. He's a former Republican, former cop. Yeah, maybe he's the guy. Maybe he's the one. Maybe that's the time that he can use this guy and bring him aboard. I mean, he said nice things about him, didn't he? He said Adams was a good guy. That's what he said. And now you're saying, but wait a minute, Larry. Isn't there a Republican actually running? There is. Isn't Cuomo still threatening to run independent? He is. And you might go, but wait a minute, Cuomo's a Democrat. He wouldn't do that. Okay, I have told you 1,000 times, and I'll keep telling you, Cuomo's a Democrat because that's what it takes to win. He's not a Democrat. He's not a leftist. He's a Cuomoist. He is whatever it would take to win. It doesn't matter. Would he be a Marxist? 100%. Wouldn't think twice. He'd be a libertarian. He'd be a Marxist. He'd be a Republican. Doesn't matter. Whatever would get him in power so he can go back to grabbing butts and killing grandparents, he would be. And he would change his policies overnight. He doesn't have a center except himself. So would he screw the Democratic Party over? Of course he would. If he thought he could win, he wouldn't care. So right now he's out there talking to donors, trying to convince them he can beat Mamdani. He's the one. This was a fluke because ranked choice voting or because lefties or whatever. But the other guy who's out there saying the exact same thing is Eric Adams, who's saying, no. I was smarter than Cuomo. I didn't run in that dumb Democratic primary because I knew I would get my butt kicked. I didn't want to take the L. I'm out here still running the city. I'm the incumbent. I didn't take the L, the loss, like Cuomo did. Give me your money. I'll do it. I'll unite the clans. Right? Trump already likes me. Trump will go ahead and tell me I'm the man. Maybe he'll even endorse me and I'll win this damn thing. That's what he's saying. Well, sadly, the people will not decide. The donors will. Yeah. As is common in our terrible system, the donors will decide. They'll get behind either Cuomo or Adams. Well, now we have another problem. A guy named Curtis Sliwa. For those of you who don't know, Curtis Sliwa is actually running as a Republican. He is a Republican nominee. Now, no shade on Curtis. I know him personally. I like him. I think he's a good man. I have no problems with Curtis personally at all. My problem is with the New York City GOP that totally dropped the ball and didn't do two things. Either pick a hardcore candidate. Again, love Sliwa. He's not a hardcore candidate. Just isn't. He wasn't ready for this. He wasn't prepared for this at all. That's it. Not just this, though. The Republican GOP didn't even give him a full campaign. Didn't pick a good person or get a good campaign. He has no chance of victory now. None. And that's sad. No chance for victory. All right. Does that mean he'll drop out? I don't think Curtis wants to. I think Curtis, believe it or not, again, some of you who may not know him, I think Curtis is actually a man of principle. I think he doesn't want to drop out. He's like, I'm a better guy. I want this job, right? That's what I think he wants. But he might still drop out because he might see the writing on the wall. It's still possible. You can say, wait a minute, Larry, Republican drop out? That would never happen. Happened 4 years ago in Buffalo. Exact same situation. Woman named India Walton won the Democratic primary. The Republican dropped out. Everyone got behind an establishment Democrat. And the current mayor of Buffalo is a guy named Byron Brown. He's that guy. And it was a write-in campaign. They couldn't even get him on a ballot. They had to write in and beat him. That's how bad it was. So what I'm saying is, there's a chance that the donors convince Cuomo to drop. He gets behind Adams. That Sliwa drops. He gets behind Adams. So what does Adams give the Republicans? Well, initially, he gives them nothing. He just gives them a not Mamdani. That's what he initially gives them. But afterwards, he goes back to being Republican, giving the Republicans a New York City mayor. Yes, that's what he could do. Giving the Republicans an official win, which, boy, could they use one in this state. They could use one. So that might be something he gives them. I call this a reverse Bloomberg, because remember, Bloomberg ran as a Republican. Why? Because he couldn't win as Democrat. So he said, I'll just run as a Republican. And you might go, wait a minute, how can he? The Republican Party? Because Bloomberg has lots of money. And he said, how much will it cost me to be a Republican? Here's a check, go. And they went, that's the amount. You are now Republican. And they did their little thing, and boom, Republican. Then he became independent. So now he's a Democrat. I mean, he was always Democrat. The reality of it is, Bloomberg at least was open about what he was doing. Bloomberg was always Democrat. But he's like, oh, I can't win as Democrat because all these crazy lefties, they would never, elect me. So I can't. So instead, I will run as a Republican and then become independent, then become Democrat. Done. That's what he did. And by the way, he also bought himself a third term. You might go, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? In New York City, there are term limits. You can only do 2 terms as mayor, unless you're Bloomberg. Then you do 3. I wish I was joking. I'm not. He bought himself a third one. He said, how much is it going to cost me? Okay, here's a check. I'm running again. I was Republican. Now I'm independent. Now I'm Democrat. I want a third term. Here's a check. It's nice when you can buy everything you want. Being a billionaire has its perks, doesn't it? So he did so. So the question becomes, would Trump rather have Adams? Because Adams would be, in theory, either friendly to him, if not an actual Republican, one or the other. And then he'd have more control over New York City, more things that he wants in New York City. That's option 1. Option 2 could be, would Trump rather have Mamdani? Would he rather have a foil that he can use, that can be his enemy, that he can talk about, he can attack, get more press about, all those things? My gut says he does not need another foil. He's got enough, and he makes them all the time. My gut says he'd rather have Adams. And why do I say that? Because Curtis Sliwa was just on an interview recently and asked about had he talked to Trump yet. And he said no. That means Trump isn't even calling him. Trump's not going to endorse him. If Trump doesn't endorse Sliwa, that's an endorsement of Adams. Will Trump actually endorse Adams? Maybe. I think we'll find out. I think we just might. Do you think I'm nuts? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on the Voice of Liberty. Shortwave Radio, now on Mondays. Back with your calls and your chat after the break.
For the last couple of years, Joe Robach has been telling you about Flower City Collision in Henrietta.
Can we have a caller, Jim?
Along with his son, Zach. Hi, my name is Greg Sadwick, and I am that veteran. I want to thank the WYSL listeners for their support over the last couple of years. During those years, not only have I experienced the gratification of providing you the best repairs and customer service, it has also allowed me the opportunity to see my son develop as a young professional. So remember, Flower City Collision for your collision repair needs. And thank you for supporting our locally owned family business.
Most banks offer you a choice. Or maybe it would be better to say they demand a choice. Technology so you can bank like you want to, or relationships so you can get advice when you need it. But when you choose to bank with Tompkins, you can have it all. Powerful technology and the power of a face-to-face talk about your future. Because both are part of the best banking relationship you'll ever have. Tompkins, your bank of choice. Open an account today at tompkinsbank.com.
Only available in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com. Official top quality tees, hoodies depicting the colorful WYSL logo or the already famous Mount Rushmore line of merch depicting Mount Rushmore style are for worst presidents. Of course, you know who is front and center up on that mountain. WYSL official items make perfect gifts, or they're a great way for you to make a personal statement. Locally produced and sold only in the WYSL store at WYSL1040.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes. It is Larry Sharpe, Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. 585-346-3000 is the number. Yeah, it is crazy. There is something Gene brings up the point. We have former Democrats and former Republicans running in New York City. They all just power hungry? Maybe. I don't know. Thank you for that, Gene. Let me grab a call if I could. This is Jim. Jim, how are you, sir?
Oh, Larry Sharpe, I'm so glad to hear from you. I'm doing well. It's crazy in New York City. But how about all over the country? Have you been in talk with Elon? Can you get him on the show? He's ready to back a big third party. And
I wish I could get Elon on the show, my friend. You are not the only person who's been reaching out to me. I've had multiple people reaching out to me, to include media, to include friends. I have reached out. Sadly, I do not have a direct connection to Elon. I wish I did. I'm not close to him like that in any way. But I have people in my circle who do know him, and I have been reaching out, and my name is circling. I'm hoping that I will be one of the people he reaches out to. I appreciate that. What's going on, Jim? What else? Was that what you were concerned about? You want me to be talking to Elon?
No, I think you'd be perfect for it. I think the whole country, the New York City race, there's no Republicans or Democrats in that race. This has gone fringe to fringe.
You've made a valid point. People don't realize that the New York City mayor race is not really attractive in many ways. And what I mean by that is it's where people's careers go to die. Once you're mayor of New York, you're done. That's the end. Exactly. And people think, well, no, you'll win mayor and you'll be powerful. It's the largest city. It actually isn't that powerful of a position. The city council controls a lot. And because it controls multiple counties, the governor controls a lot. And because the bridges cross to other states, the president controls a lot. So it's very different, Jim.
Exactly. And when Cuomo pretty much was dusted, that tells you the Democrats have just failed, completely failed.
Yes. Yes, but here's the other problem. I bring this up often. And a lot of people say, Larry, why do you focus on third parties so much? Obviously, you get it too, Jim, talking about Elon. And one of the reasons why third parties are so important is because they help to break the lock of single-party states and single-party cities.
Exactly.
New York City is 6-1 Democrat to Republican. So Democrats don't think they have to do anything because they always win.
The vote.
Say it again.
They're guaranteed to get the vote.
Yes. And here's the issue. If you get a third party, now there is some fear. I'm sorry, that's not true. If you get a viable third party, then there's some fear. And if there's some fear, now Republicans go, wait a minute, we can attack Democrats? Maybe I need to put up a real candidate in New York City. Maybe I've got to put a real fight in New York City. And Democrats go, whoa, we've got some competition. Maybe I've got to actually do something and not just let everything decay like it's been decaying for the past 20 years. There's a lot of value in having third parties, even if they don't win. And my best example is how RFK Jr. affected the Trump campaign, and he didn't even win.
The libertarians, I mean, you and I have probably been libertarians for well over 25 years. And even before we knew we were libertarians, we were
another call on hold.
Libertarians and whatever name we went by. The libertarians always stumble. And one of the biggest reasons I think they stumble is because we pass ourselves off as fiscal conservatives and social liberals. And there's some merit to that. That's almost our core. The next third party that will make a difference needs to be compassionately conservative as far as fiscally goes. But we need a single payer health insurance to just do away with the greed that's involved in healthcare right now. And I don't know how
Jim,
to
I
bring
like
those
what you're
two together.
saying. I think we have to make the Libertarian Party the most powerful third party. I agree. I got to run another call I grab. So let me grab another caller. How are you?
Lorraine.
Lorraine, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
Okay, I have kind of an obscure point, but I tuned in late, so I'm not sure it's ever been mentioned on this show. What it is not the candidate for mayor who is called a socialist always, is he not also a Muslim and a Sharia law adherent? From what I've heard,
He is a practicing Muslim, and he is proud of that. He literally said, and not that he shouldn't be, but I'm just saying he's not hiding it. He said openly, he said, I am Donald Trump's, perfect, villain, because he said, I'm a leftist, I'm a Muslim, and I'm an immigrant. That's, again, his words, not mine. So, yes, that I know of, though, he does not practice in his own personal life Sharia law, and he does not adhere to it or advocate for it. That I know. I've never seen him do that.
May I say what would be the case, however? I can do it in a couple sentences. There's a law in the Islamic side. Muslims can be wonderful, but the Islamics have a law that you must lie to protect, your religion. And if he took the oath of office, he'd immediately be lying if he adhered to that.
Well, we do have Muslims in Congress, so I don't know. Do you think they're all lying?
Do anything. I'm sorry.
Do you think they're all lying?
No, not necessarily, but Sharia law would make it a lie because it's way against our law.
No, I agree. I'm not a Sharia law fan at all. If you want to adhere to some strict religious dictates in your own life, feel free. I mean, an example I'll give you is the Amish. Some people who are evangelical, some people who are hardcore Catholics, they will very much, adhere to their own religious prescriptions. I have no problem with that at all. I just don't want it into law. I hope that's not true, Lorraine. I mean, it's possible.
Okay.
He has never said it out loud, at least, and I hope it's not true.
Okay, well, thanks for entertaining my comments.
No, of course, Lorraine. Thanks for calling. Look, I want to cover both of those pieces. One of those is what Jim was talking about. Yeah, I think libertarians in general, and I know everyone watching and listening isn't all libertarians, but I clearly am. I think compassion is a piece that we often fail. I think Jim's correct. We often fail in showing compassion. And I would say that libertarians are the most compassionate because we want the most freedom for you, and we respect you the most, and we trust you the most. And that's now go to Lorraine's point. And would I be bothered if Zohran Mamdani, in his personal life, adhere to Sharia law? I wouldn't be. Up to him. The question is, does he want to impose it upon others? If he does, I have a problem. I know lots of friends. I live in New York City. I know lots of friends who are practicing Jews, Orthodox Jews, and they keep kosher and they care about the laws and they won't drive a car on Saturday. And that's fine. They don't stop others. They adhere to strict religious rules in their own world. Good. I know lots of Mennonites and lots of Amish and former Amish when I was traveling upstate New York. They don't force anybody else. So I'm okay with that case. It's the socialism I'm worried about, Lorraine. That is Sharia. If he wants to be that way, let him. Just don't force us. That's my issue. My libertarian streak comes out again. Thanks, Jim, and thanks, Lorraine. Guys, is Lorraine right? Does she have a point? Does she have a point? You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Larry Sharpe back with your calls and your chat. I will grab your chat, I promise, after the break.
God bless America.
WYSL.
Avon, Rochester, WLEA, WLEA-FM, Cornell, New York. Canisteo Valley Update.
Over the weekend, I was in touch with a friend of mine who lives down in Texas, 45 minutes from Camp Mystic. She sent me this text, quote, on the area where they got the tremendous rain, 16 inches in one day, it resulted in the 23-foot high flash flood, which is what washed away those poor people at the camp. My friend goes on to say, what I find amazing is the meteorologist came out and said that even though they have all this technology now, they were completely surprised by the storm system. She says, the TV meteorologist says, they knew it was going to rain, but what they did not know was that the storm was going to stay put in one area for all those hours and just pour rain on the exact same spot. My friend says they have never seen anything like this before. Again, that's from a text I got over the weekend from a friend of mine who lives in Texas, Brian O'Neill for the Voice of Liberty.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center. Rest of today, thunderstorms possibly producing flash floods near the Finger Lakes should move out by 6 p.m. Then a cooler, muggy night with lows in the mid-60s. Tomorrow, cooler with highs in the upper 70s, starting cloudy with some sun poking through later. And then Wednesday, partly sunny with the return of humidity and highs in the lower 80s. I'm meteorologist Nate Morris for the Voice of Liberty.
WYSL. Rock On Harley-Davidson and Rock On Power Sports, West Henrietta Road. Shop the greatest selection of legendary Harleys and save big on a wide array of used bikes. And Rock On Power Sports has rides from Honda, Kawasaki, and Yamaha. Rock On has a helpful staff to save you big money. The Rock On Service Department has expert technicians and a great supply of parts to get and keep you on two wheels. WYSL listeners get $500 off used motorcycles while supplies last. Rock On has side-by-sides, ATVs, and jet boats too. Anything that's fun and goes fast. On and off-road and on the water, shop the all-new Rock On first. Rock On Harley-Davidson and Rock On Motorsports, 2600 West Henrietta Road. Open Tuesday through Saturday. Call 424-2120. Visit rockonharleydavidson.com.
See the USA the Myers way this summer in a new RV with up to 50% off MSRP during our model year-end clearance sale. 2024s and 5s must go to make room for our new 2026 RVs. Travel trailers, toy haulers, fifth wheels, and motorhomes. Over 100 brands from all major manufacturers. Since 1967, Myers has been the trusted family-owned dealer delivering unbeatable service, selection, and the area's best prices. Now with 15 locations across the Northeast, experience the difference.
Are you new to town and resorting to big box stores and online shopping to revamp your home? Get big city experience and unlimited options at Decorator's Choice in Hornell. We offer the largest selection of flooring in the area with installation. From custom furniture and window treatments to Benjamin Moore paints and products, our design team will create your dream space. Shop your entire sleep system with our split head and traditional mattresses, offering bedding and pillow lines for your best night's sleep. Decorator's Choice has everything you need to revamp your space. Visit our showroom at 37 Seneca Street in Hornell and like us on Facebook.
Whatever your rehabilitation needs, St. James Hospital's highly skilled physical therapists are here to help with one-on-one personalized care for individuals dealing with illness, injury, or recovering from surgery, and specialized treatments for balance disorders, dizziness, and concussions.
I think what makes us different from the rest is our warm, welcoming personalities, and we really strive to further our own education so we can better help the community.
Get back to doing the things you love. Find out more at stjamesortho.urmc.edu.
Warmer weather's on the way, but you can save now with Turnbull Heating and Air. Whether it's a tune-up on your current air conditioner or finally making the choice to go with a brand new and more efficient AC or heat pump, Turnbull's got your back. Call today to schedule your AC tune-up for only $98 or get a free quote and save $500 up front on your new AC or heat pump system. Call 501-9100. There's never been a better time to save with Turnbull.
You'll be comfortable with the best. Turnbull Heating and Air.
When you think chicken, think Stearns Poultry Farm Stores. Stearns Poultry Farm stores with 2 locations, Seneca Street, Hornell, and Route 244 in Alfred Station. Stearns, the best chicken in these parts.
Open Door Mission is deeply grateful. Because of your generous hearts, you've opened many doors, including those in need to find shelter with respect and dignity. With your continued help, more doors will open.
Hey, last spot.
Please go to opendoormission.com.
Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty.
Oh, yes, it is Larry Sharpe here on Sharpe Way Radio on the Voice of Liberty. Now, Mondays, the coolest day of the week now. 585-346-3000 is the number to reach out to me. We have been talking about, yet again, Mamdani, Trump, New York City elections. Why? This may be the canary in a coal mine for the future of this country. Right here. Trump versus a communist. That could be the thing. This is King Kong versus Godzilla. Could be that. You never know. John is in the chat. He says, no surprise, Trump wants him. He knows he can get Adams under his thumb. I think Democrats, whether they like Mamdani or not, will vote for him because Orange Man bad, and he has rhetoric and policies. Let me cover a couple of these. First one is, I think you're right. I think Trump would rather have Adams because he'll have more control, more say, more eyeballs on New York City, which you might say, why does he care? New York City is still the largest city in the entire country and the biggest financial center in the entire country. So there's still value and importance in New York City, whether you like it or not. Also has some of the biggest ports, a lot of stuff still happens in New York City, as broken as it is. Sometimes I don't know how it happens, but it does. So it's still true. So I think, I agree with you, John. I think it might be there. I'm going to go one step further. John, by the way, for you guys, was at my event in Syracuse this weekend. So thank you. Or last week, I should say. Thank you for showing up, John. Every time people show up, it makes what I do a whole lot better. And yes, some of you know, I actually meet viewers and listeners. So yeah, and I met him again for the bazillionth time. Anyway, so yes, next piece you bring up is Democrats voting for Mamdani. The question is, do they paint Mamdani as such a radical that average New Yorkers get scared? There's a chunk of New Yorkers who are hardcore left and who are happy with Mamdani and would absolutely vote for him up and down. People like Cynthia Nixon, she's jumping on board the Mamdani train. Bill de Blasio jumping on the Mamdani train because they're 100% on board. But both of them, when they ran last time, got their butts kicked. There weren't enough New York City people who believe that far left. Now, the thing that most New York City people do is they do hate Trump. If you live in this city, you know, most New York City people hate Trump. That's true. But it doesn't mean they love Mamdani, right? Doesn't mean that necessarily. I don't think it's so cut and dry. While Adams is not a great mayor, most people judge him against the last mayor, which was obviously de Blasio. He was a terrible mayor. So getting over the bar of de Blasio, not hard. Like probably anyone listening could get over that bar with zero experience. He was a terrible, terrible mayor. So I think Adams has a shot because most New Yorkers are going, okay, he's not de Blasio. It's fine. He's not de Blasio. And de Blasio's back in Mamdani. Okay, maybe I'll go with this Adams guy again. At least he's not de Blasio. So I'm not sure that's true either way. So John goes on to say, I'm 100% not surprised Trump hasn't called Sliwa. I'm with you. And the reason is, I think until Mamdani won the primary, no one thought Sliwa was a player. They thought it didn't matter. Most people thought Sliwa was just going to be a good soldier, which I think he is. He's going to take the L for the team, fight the good fight, and take the loss. That's what he was basically doing a holding action, right? So that was what he was going to do. So Trump was like, whatever. Good luck. Good luck, Curtis. I'm going to go try to stop the bombing in Afghanistan or whatever, right? I'm going to go do that. You do your thing. And I think that's one reason why. And now he's like, damn, now what? So I'm with you. Mastermind Hour says, Adams has already been broken by the owner class. Yeah, but that's not a bad thing for Trump. I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's a feature. That's not a bug. Like, yeah, good. That's not a bad thing for Trump. Like, you're acting like that's an insult. That's not. He's like, good. Even better. Let's hope the donor class has completely got him. We can only hope. That's what he's thinking. So I'm showing some empathy, Mastermind Hour, for what people are thinking. The user who has been banned for naughty words says, Elon's a Trojan horse. I keep hearing that. And I don't know if that's true. Because he's such a magnet, that's what I'll say, for all types of information, good, bad, and indifferent. I don't know what to think about this. Here's what I know. If Elon Musk wants to support libertarians and write us big checks, he's my best friend. That's what I know. That's what I'm going to tell you. If he wants to start writing libertarians big checks, he's my best friend. Let him be a Trojan horse. I don't mind. I'm going to ride that horse. I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to bring him in. I'm good. Because what we need more than anything else is a bunch of cash so we can make impact. This is what Jim was talking about. Libertarians have dropped the ball so many times. We have failed so many times. And very often, cash would have fixed that problem. Not every time. Sometimes we just screwed up so bad it wouldn't have mattered. But very often, the reality of it is cash would have fixed it. So if he wants to do that, I'm in. I am in. I'm his bestie, Trojan horse or not. And I know that may sound horrible, but at least I'm going to tell you the truth. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to be transparent. So yeah. Anyway, Gene says, I can give you 36 trillion reasons why government-run and financed healthcare won't work in the USA. Well, I see. Some of you got upset when Jim talked about single-payer healthcare. I didn't get upset. Why didn't I get upset? It's not that I am for Medicare for all or something like that. But Jim's point is a valid one. People want an answer. And many times libertarians just go, this won't work. Okay, what's your answer? Well, libertarians often don't have one. Clearly, I have one, LarrySharpe.com. I always have an answer, but most libertarians don't. He's correct. And Republicans were supposed to have an answer for Obamacare. They didn't. Remember, they were supposed to get rid of Obamacare and have their great plan. They got no plan. Democrats don't have a plan. Obamacare was their entire plan. So when no one gives you a plan, Gene, you know what I would say, a bad plan and no plan, they take bad plan. But whether it's a bad plan or not, I'm not mad at him because he wants an answer. And that's the whole idea of what he's talking about, having empathy and sympathy and being able to talk to people. People want an answer. If we don't have one, it doesn't matter. So Alexa says, I'm with Larry on this one. I'd wants to enact Sharia law on. I'm not sure. I guess you mean as long as he doesn't want to enact Sharia law. And I'm agreeing, right? If he just wants to adhere, and again, I don't know how strict of a Muslim he is. He's openly said he's a practicing Muslim. I'm not putting words in his mouth. And I'm not against it. Good. Be a Muslim. Be a Christian. Be a Jew. Be you. No worries. Are you trying to impose your law upon me? We have a problem. If you're not, we have no problem. All good. So that's the piece that I think is most important. Yes. Mike Voss is in the house. He says, I'm not happy with New York GOP even considering replacing Sliwa. He was picked by the rank and file, so he is the candidate. To be forward, Mike, he wasn't picked by the rank and file. He was the only guy who stepped up. I'm not trying to be mean. He was the only guy who stepped up. And I give him respect for that. You know, you and I both know Sliwa. By the way, Mike also knows Curtis. We both know Curtis. So we're kind of biased in us talking because we both know him. And I'm not mad at him at all. But the opposite. I'm mad at the New York GOP. New York City GOP. The state did have much to do with this. A little bit, but not much. This really was a New York City thing. They didn't support him so that he could have a good campaign. And they didn't have a real primary. There wasn't a real primary. Yeah, I'm not there. James says, Elon Musk recently launched his American and Republicans like, I think the American Party, and Republicans like Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump, and Vince Dow are really getting triggered. They don't like it because they know that he has enough cash to make some kind of impact. They don't like that. I understand. 100%. But Mike thinks the American Party won't last. Most likely will become a PAC more than a party. I think that's probably true. I think you're probably right, Mike. But the issue is, if and this is my hope. I know, Mike, you disagree with this because you're okay with two-party system. I am not. My hope is this spurs hope in other established third parties and gets them to be bigger, stronger, faster. Will that happen? I don't know. But I hope it will. That is my hope. My hope is he'll get out there, want to make things change, realize how impossible it is, how entrenched it all is, and others will see it and go, hey, we're already here. Let's be more popular. Let's go do some more things. That's my hope. Am I wrong? Am I just a dreamer? Maybe. You can tell me. 585-346-3000. Larry Sharpe on Shortwave Radio, the voice of liberty. Now on Mondays, back with your calls and more of your chat after the break.
The smoke from the Canadian wildfires is back, and it's likely to return chronically all summer and possibly into the fall. That's tough on people with asthma.
Okay, gonna have a little fun when we come back from break. I'm gonna play a trailer from a Godzilla movie.
More infrared zone heaters last fall and winter have a solution. Portable, professional-grade, American-made air purification from Austin Air Systems. Choose from the HealthMate with 4-stage medical-grade HEPA and carbon air purification. Fight allergens, dust, mold, viruses, and bacteria.
I'll let you know when you're potted up.
Ingredient to adsorb formaldehyde, which can really help with the summer's smoke from Canada. The compact and quiet bedroom machine is perfect for smoke-free sleep. Order yours from Aaron Moore, the fine folks who kept you warm and saved you money last winter. Breathe easier with Austin Air from Aaron Moore. Call 800-707-8725, 800-707-8725, or visit air-nmore.com. Include the coupon code WYSL and save. Canadian customers, please call for special ordering instructions. All customers get preseason savings on Aaron Moore heaters. Call for details.
Youth for Christ Rochester is creating a safe sanctuary and a Christ culture for at-risk city kids. Our basketball programs provides a strict code of conduct, discipline, and mentoring to give our kids the boundaries they need and crave. Our God's Girls middle school program is so popular, we're now in 3 city schools and growing. Our Performing Arts Academy explores and identifies untapped gifts, all while delivering the gospel of Jesus Christ. Give a monthly or one-time gift at yfcrochester.org/donate.
Sharpeway Radio on the voice of liberty.
Turn on the power. Will the combined might of man's forces and Mothra be enough to halt Godzilla's latest rampage? Thrill to the fight of the century. Godzilla versus Mothra.
Europe.
That could be the new fight. Trump against Mamdani. Does that make Trump Godzilla or Mothra? I don't know. Mothra, he seems more like Godzilla because yelling and screaming, but I think Mothra wins that fight. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, but yes, that could be happening. Absolutely. That totally could be happening. So we'll see. We will see. Yes, Larry Sharpe here on Sharpeway Radio, the voice of liberty. So happy that you'll give me a small chunk of your afternoon. I have so much in the chat. I want to grab some of them. Alexa says, I think American Party would help the Democrats more than the people. I'm actually not sure on this one. See, if the American Party is seen as an anti-Trump party, if it's seen as that, you may get more Democrats who are unhappy with the Democratic Party going there. You could see that if it's seen that way, in which case that would actually split the vote of Democrats and would up helping Republicans. If the American Party is seen as an Elon Musk kind of better than Republicans, if it's seen that way, then you may find people who don't like Trump but would rather support the tech bros or billionaires or something like that. You might see them go to the American Party. I think it depends on how it's branded, Alexa. I'm sorry, not how it's branded. How the brand is accepted, right? They may brand it X and it may still end up being Y. It depends on who's in it. Is this going to be a bunch of people like Forward Party jumping on board, that type? If it's that, then it's going to be seen as a secondary Democratic Party. Is it going to be more people like the Peter Thiels of the world, where it'll seem more like an offshoot Republican Party, right? Who's going to join? And how active will Elon be in it? Will he just write checks? Will there be some other face to the party? There's a lot of questions here. And also, how will they focus on ballot access, which is the hardest part for them to get? If they focus on ballot access, okay, then what candidates will jump on board? Will they all be former Republicans? Will they all be former Democrats? So I think it's possible what you're saying. I don't think we know yet. And then what happens if Mike's right faster? I think Mike is correct in the long run. The question is that 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? When does it become basically a PAC? I don't know when that's going to happen. Does it happen quickly? And it's just who he funds? Or does it kind of hold on for many years in a couple cycles and struggle a bit, similar to a Forward Party? Does it do that? I think there's so much for us to see. I'm not prepared to give you an answer on that at all. You may be right. I just think it's too early to say. There's so many different options that could pop up. So, yeah. All right, let me see if I can go down here. Let's see here. Kaiwan says, I just don't like the fact that Trump isn't supporting the Republican candidate for a court leader of the Guardian Angels, and he's going out, and even though Eric has no chance. Well, let me cover both of those pieces. One, Trump doesn't necessarily endorse people in local races. He picks and chooses. You may like or not like that, but that's not unlike Trump. Trump has done that many times. He's picked some to jump in, some to ignore. So it's not crazy for him to ignore him. It isn't. He's done it before. But you're right on Curtis. Curtis has put his time in as a New Yorker. That's true. Whether you like, a lot of people don't like Curtis. And I get it. You don't like him, fine. You cannot like him. Doesn't matter. The guy's put his time in. He's been literally shot multiple times. I'm not joking. If you look him up, he's taken bullets for New Yorkers. His son almost got shot. Look, he put in his time. So 100%, nothing but respect. But respect or not, if you're running in a major party and they don't support you, you're not going to win. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just being realistic. You're not going to win. It's how it works. You got to be supported. I know. I've run and not been supported. I know how that works. So yes. And for you to say Eric has no chance, I think you're wrong, my friend. I think Adams has a chance if, and here's the big if the donors pick him over Cuomo. If the donors pick him over Cuomo, he has a shot. Bloomberg himself gave $8 million. If he gets behind Adams, Adams is the incumbent. He's got a shot. He does. He does have a shot. So yes. John responds to Mike Voss. He says, a PAC could move the needle in New York. It could. I think you're right. And that's my point. If they do create a PAC, and if Mike is correct, if that PAC just supports Democrats and Republicans, then whatever, it's another PAC. But if it becomes an actual independent PAC and then puts money behind people, a good example will be the guy who ran Nebraska last year, right? Dan Osborne. If he had a big PAC throwing money at him, he might have won that race, right? You could see how a PAC could absolutely move the needle. And I won't even go with that. What if it's just some independent running and more people go to the independent and it affects the other outcome? I agree, John. Even if it's a PAC, it can still make impact. Look, one of the reasons why Trump took RFK Jr. in, there were many, but one of the reasons why the people around him didn't go, what are you doing? Stop. No, you can't put RFK in. He's a Democrat. You can't do that. Is because they knew RFK Jr. at that time probably was going to get about 5% of the vote. Maybe a little bit more. Probably going to get that. And his people were like, we could use that 5%. We could use that 5%. We want to get not just the victory, we want to get a mandate. And bringing RFK Jr. in ensured the mandate. That's what it did. And they knew that. And what happened? Again, whether you personally like RFK or whatever the case may be, if you're an RFK supporter, you're getting stuff you want. RFK Jr. did change and adjust Trump's campaign. You throw a bunch of money at an independent, and the independent goes, okay, I'll drop out. But hey, Republican, you got to do X, Y, and Z. Hey, Democrat, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You've just made change. We see it with RFK Jr. If you like RFK Jr.'s change, as I do, good for you. If you don't, then you need to get your guy or gal to get backed by the pack so they can change and get what you want in. Imagine if someone could do it for, say, the Second Amendment in New York State and force a Republican and Democrat to change their views, they'll join in. Or to make sure there's a Medical Freedom Act across the entire state so the lockdowns can never happen again. Imagine something like that. That'd be worth it. There can be impact even if Mike is right and it just becomes a pack. There can be impact. And I want impact more than virtue signaling, right? That's what I really want. I think it can happen, and I hope it does. Phil says, the Conservative Party was initially started by William Buckley to move the Republican Party to be more conservative, right? It didn't work at all. The Conservative Party has not done a good job of moving the party. The Green Party did a decent job. It was supposed to also move the Democrats left. The Green Party did a better job. Still not great, but a better job. The Conservative Party has done almost nothing to move the Republican Party. Almost nothing. And the problem is it doesn't fight on its own. The Green Party does. The Conservative Party in America just falls behind Republicans. So who cares? Particularly New York State. New York State's a joke. It just falls behind Republicans. The Green Party actually fights against Democrats. And when Democrats are doing well and more left, the Green Party actually struggles. So that's how I know it's working, right? The Green Party is not great at moving Democrats, but better than the conservatives. So yeah, look, libertarians can move either side, both sides. Democrats are supposed to be about civil liberties. They're not, but they're supposed to be. Libertarians can make them do that. Republicans are supposed to be about, lower taxes. They're not, but libertarians can make them. That's a wonderful way of ending this show, talking about what libertarians could do. I hope they will do. Thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your afternoon. I will see you all very soon.
Okay, have a great day. Talk to you next Monday. Thanks.